Conference will now be recorded.
Good evening and welcome to the December 3rd, 2025 South Whitehall Township Commissioners Meeting. I'll call this meeting to order. We have all commissioners present this evening. At this time, please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Announcements. All public sessions of the South Whitehall Township Board of Commissioners are electronically recorded, filed, and posted to the Township website for public access. Tom, if you'd please review our public virtual meeting rules.
Thank you. The public virtual meeting rules are as follows. Courtesy of the floor for non-agenda items will be at the beginning and end of the agenda. Public comment will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker. For all listed agenda items, the board president will call for courtesy of the floor prior to the Board of Commissioners taking action on that specific agenda item. For in-person attendees, please raise your hand to be recognized, then move to the podium when directed. You will be asked to state your name and address for the record and may then proceed with asking your question. For those participating virtually, please mute your microphone or telephone to avoid any background noise that may cause interference during the meeting. The chat box feature will be active throughout the meeting. If you have a comment or question, please type your name and address into the chat box. The staff member monitoring GoToMeeting will then unmute your microphone and you will have the opportunity to comment or ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Agenda item 4 is courtesy of the floor. It's opportunity for any member of the public to comment on any non-agenda items. Is there anyone present this evening? Yes, sir. You can come on up to the podium. Please give us your name and address for the record. Make sure that little light is on the microphone, please. Excellent.
I'd like to address water supply in Lehigh County. I thought it was ironic. About 2 weeks ago, Lehigh County Authority asked for a voluntary cutback of at least 5% on water usage. At the same time, there's a data center proposed at the Air Products property in Upper Macungie that I understand uses a tremendous amount of water. So what I'm asking that there be a county-wide water supply study that would include Lehigh County Authority wells, municipal wells, and even private wells. And I don't know what agency would do that, but I would think that any idea of a data center in Upper Macungie should not be advanced until we know what our long-term water supply is. And I don't know who would do that study, but that should be done. That should be done first. And I also ask that the commissioners consider working with other townships and other people, on this whole issue, because this is a county-wide issue. Also, I understand Albo's having expansion that we use several 100,000 gallons a day. So we need to know what our water supply is for the next 10 years. I don't want to hamper industrial development, but I think we ought to know where we are and what the capabilities are, say, over the next 10 years. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you for your comment. We will take that under advisement. Is there anyone else in the audience with a public comment? Is there anyone online? Agenda item 5, our meeting minutes for the November 19th, 2025 Board of Commissioners meeting. They've been distributed to the board in advance. Any comments on the meeting minutes? If not, I need a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item 6, presentations. We have our October 2025 financial review year-to-date report. I'll ask Director of Finance, Tricia Dickert, to please present.
Good evening, everyone. So the full financial statement was posted to the Township website and forwarded to the full Board of Commissioners on November 14th, 2025. So we'll just go over a summary of the funds. I won't bother reading all these numbers to you. I think I've read enough numbers off to you guys in the last 2 months. Just showing general fund as far as revenue is concerned is just shy of 90%. And with 2 more months left in 2025. I think we're going to end the year pretty strong again on revenues. Expenses are trending a little bit lower than that 100% mark, which is also a good sign. Again, these are things that ultimately end up feeding cash carry forward figures that we talk about a lot during the budget process. Fire tax, you can see that trended over 100% and expenses came in well under. Again, keeping in mind this is just through the first full 10 months of the year. Water fund, we're expecting that to pretty much stay just about where it is. Again, there's 2 months left of revenues and expenses, so we'll see that change a little bit. Sewer, we're just shy of 85%. Expenses are trending low as well. Refuse recycling, we talk about that during the budget season as well. So the revenue will tend to trend a little bit high, and that has a lot to do also with that smoothing that happens over the life of the contract. Expenses are coming in right now at about 91%. So I think we'll be fine where expenses are concerned for the rest of the year. Capital, there's nothing noteworthy there. That really is based a lot on when interfund transfers are done, when capital projects are completed, and when those expenses are realized. And state highway aid, we've received the lion's share of that money, just over 100%. Many months ago, I feel like we've been looking at 100+% for at least the last 5 months. And the expenses, again, were well under. So that's the summary for the October financial statements. And just a reminder that it's available online if the public or anybody wants to see the whole amazing packet that Kristen puts together. That's where you'll find it.
Excellent. Thank you, Tricia, and thank you to Kristen and your team for keeping both the community and the board updated on our financials. Does the board have any comments or questions at this time? Any public comment? We'll move on then to ordinances. 7A, we have an ordinance imposing an additional earned income tax for township residents at the rate of 0.1% under the authority of the Local Tax Enabling Act and Open Space Lands Acquisition and Preservation Act, which shall amend the South Whitehall Township Code, Chapter 328, Taxation, Article 5, Earned Income and Net Profits Tax, Section 328-33, Imposition of Tax to reflect the additional tax, and further providing for the following additional clauses: repealer, severability, failure to enforce, not a waiver, and effective date. I'll ask Township Manager Tom Petrucci to please present.
Thank you. So on November 4th, township electors approved by referendum the imposition of an additional 0.1% EIT for open space preservation. Township Director of Legal Affairs, Jennifer Aldifer, has prepared this ordinance to formally enact the additional EIT and to amend Chapter 328, Taxation, Article 5 of the South Whitehall Township Code to reflect the new open space tax. So as of this meeting date, the public notice summarizing the proposed ordinance has been advertised 3 consecutive times, which is a requirement of the Local Tax Enabling Act. And the first class township code requires only 1 advertisement. So we've met that, both of those requirements. So the ordinance is ready for adoption. I will note that should you adopt this ordinance this evening, the township staff will then attempt to file the ordinance tomorrow with DCED in order to ensure that this tax gets placed on the official tax register. That is always published on or before December 15th. So we're going to endeavor to get that on. Either way, it'll be sent to DCED, but just wanted to clarify we're doing everything we can to get this done in a timely manner. But we're up against the statutory time limits, of course, as well. So I'd seek a motion to adopt.
Excellent, Tom. Thank you. And thank you to Attorney Aldifer and all the team involved in preparing this to get us to this point to have a vote to consider adoption tonight. Are there any comments from the board on this agenda item? Is there any public comment? Is there anyone online with a comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 7B, we have an ordinance of the Township of South Whitehall, County of Lehigh, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the property tax rate for the fiscal year 2026, levying a real estate tax for general revenue purposes, and for fire tax purposes for the fiscal year 2026, reaffirming the current tax rates provided for within Chapter 328 taxation of the codified ordinances of South Whitehall Township, and appropriating specific sums estimated to be required for the specific purposes of the township government during the 2026 fiscal year, providing for a repealer clause, severability clause, and effective date. Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So the 26 budget estimates the revenues available in 26 from property taxes. So the proposed new rates are as follows. So the mills on each dollar of assessed valuation is 2.849750 for general purposes. And then this does include a increase to the fire tax to 0.75 mils. So combined millage rate will be 3.59975. So this ordinance puts that into place. The township's required to adopt its property tax rate each year, either by resolution or ordinance. Because you are increasing the fire tax, you would have to do so by ordinance. So this effectively accomplishes that requirement of the first class township code. Also, this ordinance affirms the current tax rates set forth in the township code, which now includes the open space EIT. So you're effectively reaffirming all the rates as well as the new rate for the EIT. So that being said, this ordinance was advertised in the November 13th issue of the Parkland Press and was sent to the Lehigh County Department of Law and is ready for adoption. Take a motion to adopt.
Excellent. Thank you, Tom. Just want to again recognize and thank the administration, finance team, all of our staff for all of the work that's been done on this budget this year. I'm specifically grateful for the planning that's been done to fund our fire apparatus moving forward for the next 10 years estimated, and grateful that we will have those needs provided for with a designated fire tax increase. It's something this township has never planned long-term for, and it's a critical public safety need. So I'm specifically very grateful to the team for that. So thank you. I'll open up to the board if there's any other comments or questions.
Yeah, I'll just add, and I know we covered this extensively in our budget workshop, but I do think it's obviously important to provide the public with as thorough an explanation as possible as to our sort of thought process and planning process with respect to the fire tax, because obviously while there's no general millage increase, general millage rate increase for this year, there is the increase in the fire tax. Obviously, as you know, property taxes are in my view, a last resort option. And any tax increase should always be very specifically tied to a certain need. It should be readily identifiable, you know, what the increased revenues will go towards. And I believe that this meets that criteria. Obviously, we know how much the cost of fire apparatus have increased since 2018, since the tax was enacted. And certainly, given current economic conditions, there's no sign of the costs going down anytime soon. So, you know, we're very fortunate in this township to be served by several great volunteer fire companies with great membership, excellent emergency response services, and it's only fitting that they be provided with the proper equipment that functions well and that is reliable as they meet the continued needs of a growing township. So again, as much as a property tax increase of any kind, even an increase to the fire taxes is a last resort option. I do think it's important to explain to the public why now is the time, and really why kicking the can down the road any further would have a catastrophic impact on the needs of the fire companies. And in case the public is interested, and we'll probably discuss this when we get to the budget a little bit, the last 10 or so pages in the 2026 proposed budget do include the 10-year capital improvement plan, which is very detailed, including the capital improvements needed by our three fire companies. They're included in there. They're laid out by year what the needs are going to be. And if you take a look at that, you'll be able to see where the revenues are expected to go over the next 10 years due to the specific apparatus needs of the companies. So I strongly encourage the public to check that out. And I do want to thank the staff for putting this together. And this is a hard decision, but it's necessary for public safety. So thank you.
Right, well said, both of you. I just wanted to add, as I did at the last meeting as well, I don't know who's listening online, but the fire apparatus study was discussed at our September 17th meeting. It's found on agenda page 131. Also was just discussed at the 11/19/25 meeting, item number 8B, attachment number 4, and that will carry us through to 2035. I think it's very important that residents see that 10-year projection and what we will need and how we have to plan to fulfill those needs. And also, like Commissioner Roth said, please take a look at our future projected needs, page 125 in the packet tonight, in reference to water, sewer, public works, parks and rec, police, fire, and IT. That will lay out what we will need for the next 10 years. And I think it's important that our residents see that and peruse it at their convenience. So, thank you.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate the staff, Tom and his team, in projecting out based on the fire chief's recommendation of the needs for the next 10 years. If the residents want to see where their money goes in 3 to 4 years when the trucks get delivered, they're more than welcome to come down and take a look at them. But kudos for planning out ahead of time. And there are a lot of factors that go into it, but you took everything that we could bring to your attention into the plan, and we came up with, I think you did a great job. You too, Trish.
Thanks, Chris.
Well,
Thank you.
Well said, commissioners. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Yes, come on up to the microphone. Just please press the button so the light will come on. We've got a virtual component so that people online can hear. Yep, right in front there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just want to comment on fire apparatus expense. I've been around since 1979 in the fire service, and I just can't believe between the consolidation in the fire manufacturers. I mean, we lost KME up here in Nesquehoning, where we had a lot of trucks of KME. That's been consolidated, and basically the manufacturers in the driver's seat as far as price and when it's going to be delivered. I mean, 4 years to get a truck delivered, and they're driving the cost. And then we know that if a truck ages over 25 years, it can affect your fire insurance policy rates. So it's a no-win situation, and we got to just ride with it and accept it, because the fire apparatus manufacturers in the driver's seat. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Is there anyone else for the public comment? Is there anyone online with a comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said ordinance?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 7C, an ordinance confirming and acknowledging that by operation of law pursuant to the Pennsylvania Municipal Authorities Act, specifically 53 PA CSA Section 5619C, any and all property of the South Whitehall Township Authority has been transferred to the township, and the authority ceased to exist as of the date of recording of the certificate of termination with the Lehigh County Recorder of Deeds Division on October 22nd, 2025. And to further provide for a repealer severability clause and an effective date. And Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So this ordinance before you, if you were inclined to adopt it, is probably the last action you'll take to terminate the authority, which began with Ordinance 1021, adopted by the board on May 3rd of 2017. So I don't believe you'll have any other administrative actions that you'll need to complete. So it's been a long road, but we finally have completed it. So we've effectuated all the steps to terminate the authority. This is now an ordinance to transfer and to confirm all the assets, the property interests, and the regulatory permits, which has already effectively been done, but it's affirming it. And then once this ordinance is adopted, we will then also record the ordinance as well. So just seeking a motion to adopt at this point.
Very good, Tom. Thank you. Does the board have any comments or questions? Is there any public comment? Is there anyone online with a comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said ordinance?
On second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Resolutions 8A, we have a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Township of South Whitehall, Lehigh County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, approving and authorizing the execution and delivery of an emergency interconnection agreement with Lehigh County Authority titled Emergency Interconnection Agreement. And Tom, if you'd please present.
Yes, thank you. So the Township and the Lehigh County Authority each operate public water systems that draw from the same aquifer and maintain operating pressures that enable emergency system support between the two utilities. So the resolution before you this evening confirms the emergency interconnection agreement in 2018 that was put in place to support emergency water transfers through the interconnection located at the northeast corner of Citronio Road and Shantz Road. So over time, the Township and LCA have determined that the interconnection requires modernization to enhance operational reliability, remote operability, and mutual resiliency during emergency conditions. So just to summarize this agreement before you tonight, it includes installation of motor-operated valves, automatic flushing units, SCADA integration, and related upgrades to the board's interconnector, adjustments and clarifications in ownership of water mains immediately surrounding the meter pit, updated operational protocols, metering responsibilities, notification procedures, and cost sharing for both construction for capital expenses and ongoing electrical service. And it also reflects the shared interests of both utilities in ensuring reliable emergency water supply and modernizing system controls for the board's interconnector. So this update reflects the shared interest of both of the entities and utilities in ensuring reliable emergency water supply and modernizing system controls for the board's interconnector. So there is an estimated project cost at this point, $165,000. The Township is responsible for 50% of the capital construction costs. That 50% share was included in the 26 budget for both Township and LCA. So with effectively by approving the budget this evening, you've approved that capital budget expenditure. So this will then complete both the administrative item as well as the financial aspect. So the board's inclined, I'd seek a motion to adopt the resolution, which will allow us to execute the agreement. And I'd like to just recognize Herb and Jennifer and Kingsbride for really doing a great job on putting this agreement together in a timely manner, as well as LCA, working with them. Bill DePue.
Excellent.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Tom, and to the team for preparing the memo and all the information for the board. It was very well presented to the board. The cost sharing, everything was very clear and clean. So thank you to the team for that. The board have any comments or questions?
Refresh my memory. When LCA, Allentown put the reservoir in Huckleberry, LCA took it over. Was there an interconnection into our system from that? I don't recall if there was or wasn't.
You're saying the reservoir on Huckleberry?
Yeah.
No, there's no interconnection to the reservoir. We have two interconnections right now that we use daily for everyday consumption, which we can pump back to the reservoir through Springhouse Water Station.
Yeah, I thought there was one that if in an emergency that we could pull directly from the reservoir to back. So if we had an emergency in our system, that we could use the water in there.
If we have an emergency, yes, we can change the flow in either direction out of the reservoir, yes. You would just have to change pumps around and open different valves. But yes, you can pass water like that if we had to.
Any other board questions or any public comment? Anyone online with a comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 8B, we have a resolution establishing rates rents, charges, and delinquent charges for furnishing water service to consumers and establishing the circumstances under which service is disconnected and municipal liens filed. Excuse me. I'll ask Director of Finance, Tricia Dickert, to please present.
So I prepared one memo ahead of items B, C, and D on tonight's agenda. So if we're dealing with just water, these are numbers that we've talked about during the budget workshop and both at the first and second reading, with a reminder that while LCA is increasing the water rates to the township, we are not passing that increase off onto township residents. So the rates that we are asking be approved tonight are rates that are identical to what is being billed and paid in 2025.
Thank you, Tricia. Board have any comments or questions? Any public comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution?
So moved.
I'll
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item 8C. We have a resolution establishing rates, rents, charges, and delinquent charges for furnishing sanitary sewage services to owners and/or consumers and establishing the circumstances under which water service is discontinued and municipal liens filed. Tricia?
So again, LCA is increasing sewer rates, and this is one that in order to plan for the Kleins Island expansion, we have to pass at least a portion of that rate increase on to township residents. So the increase is essentially a 4% increase. It brings the base charge to $38, the per EDU charge to $94.64, and it brings the per 1,000 gallon cost to $5.17. And again, these are numbers that we've talked about 3 times already in this room. So if the board is so inclined to approve the sewer rates, then we would just ask that you do that.
Thank you, Tricia. Board have any comments or questions? Any public comment? None online. Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 8D, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of South Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, approving and adopting municipal solid waste collection charges for calendar year 2026. Tricia?
Okay, so to avoid sounding like a broken record, we've known since the start of this new trash hauler contract that the goal was to keep the rate flat over the course of the 5-year contract. So the rate being set for, or asked being set for 2026 is again identical to the rate that's being paid right now, which is $660 a year or $165 per quarter. Just one more note, though, on the refuse. We did obviously take the feedback from the full commission. We increased the income threshold for the low income senior refuse discount applications. And I believe we're going to do whatever we can in 2026 to see, is there a way that we can get the word out there to applicants that maybe aren't aware that that such a discount can be applied for. So we'll just have to get a little creative and figure out how we can get that notice out there to the people who this discount is supposed to reach, which is low-income seniors.
Thank you, Tricia, and thank you and your team for your diligence in seeking to inform residents who may be able to apply for that low-income senior discount. It's certainly something the board was very interested in during the budget workshop, so appreciate your follow-up on that. Does the board have any comments or questions?
I just have a comment and a question. First, I would encourage any senior in the township who may qualify or thinks they may qualify to please reach out to township staff. It's certainly a good discount, and if there are any folks in the community who are eligible, we certainly want to pass that benefit along to them. The second is a question. I don't know who from staff would best answer this, but I know one of the points of contention, a lot of questions from the public, a lot of questions from the board when we entered into the new contract with Mascaro back in the fall of 2023, was responsiveness to residents' concerns through their dedicated service line, complaints to the township, things that have been an issue with Mascaro in the past and also with our previous hauler. Have we seen any significant issues, or has Mascaro been pretty pretty responsive. I haven't heard anything, but obviously questions are directed to staff.
Sure. So
you're
I
better
can
equipped.
speak to that because there's a finance individual that would typically handle those complaints. So under the previous hauler, those complaints came directly to the township. With this new contract, we have a dedicated, like you mentioned, we have a dedicated customer service rep that we encourage, obviously, residents to go there first, kind of trying to eliminate the middleman. And, it turns into us just taking that and having to regurgitate it to them anyway. To my knowledge, any questions that have been or concerns that have been asked of us, forwarded to us, or asked of them, I believe they've been met. I would just continue to encourage the public if something happened, during their trash pickup or something they observed, let us know, let them know. I mean, the involvement that I've had with JP staff, they've all been incredibly professional. I don't personally have anything to say that would be negative.
That's good to hear, because I know that was certainly a point of contention, and obviously our residents pay a lot for refuse service. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Any other questions? Or any public comment? Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 8E, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of South Whitehall Township, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, approving the budget for the 2026 calendar fiscal year beginning on the first day of January 2026 and ending on the last day of December 2026. And Tricia, if you'd please present.
Of course. So again, final push here. We had the budget workshop in October, followed by the first reading the first Wednesday of November, the second reading the third Wednesday of November. And at this point, we're ready to hand the 2026 proposed budget over to the full Board of Commissioners for adoption. If the board adopts the 2026 budget today, we'll make sure that the adopted copy of the budget goes on the township website tomorrow morning.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tricia. Again, thank you to you and your team, administration, all department heads that worked on this budget. This is the first time that I'm aware of that we've done a zero-based budget in this township, and I appreciate the effort and the work. You've all done the heavy lifting on your end to provide a zero base up. The rate studies that we've done, the study of the fire apparatus through the DCED, administration staff have really done a lot of work to create a very solid foundation for us as commissioners to lean on as we look at this budget for 2026. Very appreciative of all your work, and to reiterate what Commissioner Roth said, I encourage our residents to please take a look at the budget. You've done a great job to make it readable and understandable, and it really does map out the initiatives of the coming year. And I think residents would glean a lot of information to kind of help them understand where their tax dollars go. But in summary, thank you for the hard work that you've done and keeping our property tax rate steady.
Sure, of course. And, just to piggyback off of that, as a reminder, this year couldn't have been time better to go down the zero-based approach, knowing the new GASB rule that's coming out effective the 2026 spending year. So that will show us a lot, I believe, when the audit is being worked on in 2027, because everything that's greater than 5% is going to have to be an explanation as to why the revenue was over or the expense was under. So it's kind of weird how it happened, but sure, zero-based in 2026 apparently, so GASB says, was the way to go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tricia. Any other board members have any comments? Any public comment? Anyone online? Do I have a motion to adopt said resolution?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. And item 9, correspondence and information boards and commissions. Tom, if you'd please present.
Thank you. So upcoming meetings and events are as follows. This Saturday, December 6th, for 5:30 p.m., we have the tree and bridge lighting at Covered Bridge Park. I'm told Santa Claus will be there. Wednesday, December 10th, 10 a.m., with Civil Service Commission meeting. Thursday, December 11th, 7 p.m., we have the Emergency Management Services meeting, which is at the Cetronia Joint Operations Center. Thursday, December 11th, 7 p.m. is the Planning Commission meeting. Saturday, December 13th, 4 p.m. is the 2025 Candy Cane Hunt and Food Drive. So there's a lot of different additional details on the event, about that event. So please see the website for that. Monday, December 15th, 6 p.m. is our Landscape and Shade Tree Commission meeting. Monday, December 15th, 7 p.m. is the Environmental Advisory Council meeting. And then Wednesday, December 17th, 7 p.m. is the Board of Commissioners meeting.
Thank you, Tom. Courtesy of the floor, agenda item 10, again, opportunity for any member of the public to address the board on any non-agenda items. Is there anyone present who'd like to address the board? Is there anyone online with a public comment?
Actually, Commissioner Kelly, before we move on, I did want to just take a moment and thank the Public Works team for getting us through the first snow and ice and sleet and rain and whatever else we had on Tuesday. Thank them for doing such a great job. I know it's a busy time for them at the tail end of leaf collection, beginning of the snow removal season. But Herb, please pass along our thanks. And if they're as prepared as they were for this one, as no matter what's coming our way over the next few months, I'm sure they'll always do a great job. So thank you.
Then item 11, I need a motion to authorize payment of invoices and disbursements.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item 12, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned.